What's good, guys? In today's video, we're going to be building a real app. This is going to be a real app with all the features, all the functionality that we're going to eventually launch, and it's going to be used by users. And in fact, you're going to be using it, I'm going to be using it, and there's going to be all kinds of other users that are going to be using it as well. And so what kind of app are we going to be building? Well, actually, we're going to be building a marketplace. It's going to be a real marketplace with buyers and sellers, with producers and consumers. And hopefully, you and me are going to participate in this app, and you'll be able to make money and sell different products and services. And so what kind of marketplace is it going to be? Well, actually, it's going to be a marketplace of FlutterFlow apps. Of course, it's going to be FlutterFlow. Thanks so much to FlutterFlow for giving me the swag. And the idea there is that you'll be able to build an app. It doesn't matter what kind of app you're going to be building. Maybe it's going to be a simple app, or maybe it's going to be a more complex app. And you'll be able to sell that app in that marketplace. And so if you look into my FlutterFlow account here, I have lots and lots of apps. And I actually give these apps away on my Patreon page. I essentially give links to all of the apps that I built on this channel. And so if you're a member of my Patreon, you can simply go on that page, grab a link, view and clone the app. And so that is going to be the idea for this marketplace. If you can build a FlutterFlow app, you can essentially sell that FlutterFlow app on this marketplace. And other people, maybe they're also FlutterFlow developers, or maybe they're just beginners with no experience under their belt. They can go on this marketplace and purchase the app that you're built for the price that you have it listed. And as is the case for all the apps that I build on this channel, you will be able to go on my Patreon page in order to view and or clone the app. And so if you're interested, you'll be able to find a link to my Patreon page in the description below this app. And so here we have the diagram for the app that we're going to be building. It's going to be a FlutterFlow developer marketplace, and it's going to have various flows depending if you are a developer or a customer. So let's talk about the developer first, okay? So the idea here is that you can register as a developer, and you'll be able to go on the site and sell the apps that you build. And so you're going to have your account dashboard. You'll be able to see sales, profits, things like that. You'll be able to submit a new app. You'll be able to delete an existing app, edit an app, change price, and plus we're also going to have other functionality. Maybe you'll be able to unlist the app, take it off the market, stuff like that. And also throughout this process, I want to hear your feedback. So if you have any ideas of a feature, functionality, just leave it in the comments below. That way we can build this app together and make it great together. Next, let's talk about the customer flow. And this is somebody who wants to go out and purchase an app, okay? Perhaps they're also a FlutterFlow developer and they've been building various apps. Maybe they are a beginner, but they maybe see an app that they like. Maybe this app has various functionality that they've never implemented before, and they want to see how they can do the same. So they can simply go on this marketplace and purchase this app and get the link in order to view and or clone it and make the app theirs. And so they're going to log in as a customer. They're going to see a list of apps. They'll be able to click on one of these apps and go to the app detail page, okay? And then they'll be able to hopefully purchase, check out. They'll also be able to add it to their shopping cart if they want to purchase, several apps at once. And they'll also have an account dashboard. And so the idea is they can look at all the apps, but they can also go to their account dashboard and see the kind of apps that they've purchased. They'll be able to see the apps that they purchased. They'll be able to maybe leave a review, a rating, stuff like that. That way we can see, if they like the app that they purchased, maybe they'll be able to leave a rating, a review for the seller, for this developer here. That can also be an option. That, these reviews and ratings, they build trust in the marketplace. So something like Airbnb, you can leave a review as well as a rating for an apartment that perhaps you've stayed in. And that way, when somebody's browsing different apartments, they can immediately see the rating and reviews for their apartment. And so we're going to have kind of the same functionality here as well. And so that is the basic kind of architecture. We have various flows. Now let's go out and let's start building this app. All right, so here I am inside FlutterFlow. I'm going to go ahead and create a new app, and I'm going to call it FF Marketplace. I'm going to say create new. And we're going to set up Firebase. I'm going to say next step. It needs a project ID. And we're also going to enable authentication. And we're going to create the user collection. And so I'm going to go into my Firebase Firestore and create a new project for this specific app that we're building. All right, so I'm going to call this FF Marketplace, just like the name of the app. We're going to say continue. We're going to say continue. And we're going to create this project right here. So it's creating the project. All right, it is ready. We're going to say continue. And here we are inside our project screen. Now, what we want to do is we want to go into build and we want to enable authentication. Okay, so I'm going to come in here. I'm going to get started. Remember, Firebase is a collection of tools provided by Google. We need a couple in this case. We need authentication as well as the Firestore DB. So let's go ahead and do email and password. I'm going to do that. I'm going to enable. We're going to say save. Let's start with that just to keep it simple. We can always enable other providers later on. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to go into Firestore database. And I'm going to set this up. I'm going to say create a database. We're going to start in the test mode. We're going to say next. We're going to say enable. All right, so here we are in our cloud Firestore. Okay, this is Firebase Firestore here. And we don't have any collections now. We need to start thinking about in terms of a collection. Now, the first collection we need is the users. And this collection will be created automatically by FlutterFlow. And so if we come in here, we go into project settings, we're going to get this project ID right here, and we're going to come and paste it here. Okay. And we also need to make sure that it can connect, because if we say connect, it won't be able to connect. We need to add Firebase at flutterflow.io as an editor for the project. So we're going to come into users and permissions. We're going to paste this here. We're going to say add member. We're going to say editor. Okay, add member. All right, now we can say connect. And now it's there. We want to auto-generate config files here. We're going to say generate config files. And now it also needs our initial pages. So we need an entry page, and this is going to be the login page. And we need a logged in page, which is typically going to be a dashboard or some kind of a list apps kind of page. So for the login page, you can obviously build it yourself, but I'm going to start simple. So a quick side note is that when I'm building an app, in those initial stages, I want to see the app. I want to see a prototype as quickly as possible. I am not trying to build the perfect app. I'm not trying to do everything myself. If I can use a template, I will do it. If I can use pre-built pages, I will do it. I just want to see the app working from A to B or from A to Z, depending on how you look at it. I just want to see an app in front of me. Okay, that is how I do it. That has shown as a result of experience to be kind of the best way for me. You can experiment it, but that is something that I do. So I'm going to go into auth and I'm going to use this one right here. So this one I've been using all the time. We can always change it. We can always swap it out later. I'm going to say login, use my theme. Okay, so we have this. Now we need a logged in page. Now, assuming we're going to do it for customers, for users. Okay, we're going to do developers a little bit later. What does the user need to see? Well, they're going to see a list of apps, right? They're going to see a list of apps. So what we need is a list. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to call this page. I'm going to call this page apps. Okay, we can always rename it. I'm going to go into lists. And what I want to see is a list of items, but I also want to see images. Okay, because I envision this app having thumbnails. Okay, so if you build an app, you can submit a thumbnail. Remember, this is going to be a real app. We're going to go out, we're going to market it, we're going to publish it, we're going to launch this app, okay? And so what I'm looking for is something, not just a list, but something with thumbnails. So there's this one, there's this one. I like this one right here. I can just start off with this one. I'm just going to say use my theme, start building. I love when it tells me start building. That is kind of what we have. So we have apps and we have login. Okay, so now we can start to build. Okay, so we can fix these errors. You can fix them later if you want. You can fix them now. Let's fix them later. Next, I'm going to go back into my Firestore account and we are going to create our first collection. Okay, this is going to be an apps collection. Okay, this is going to be the list of apps that the user, meaning like the customer, right? The customer is going to go in there. They're going to see a list of apps. So I'm going to say apps. Okay, this is the collection ID. Now we need the fields. Okay, and for the fields, I start out simple. I can always add them later. You don't have to get things exactly perfect on your first try. You can do it later, right? So the field is going to be name. We're going to have a thumbnail. Okay, the thumbnail for the app. We're going to have a description. I'm just going to have desk right here. And also we need the price, meaning like how much do you want in order to sell the license, right? $5, $50, whatever. I'm going to say price and I'm going to say this is going to be a number, okay? So what do we have? We have the name of the app. We have the description. We have our thumbnail. We have a price. Obviously, we'll also need the author, like who built this app. We also need rating and reviews. And I think that's enough to get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say user ID here. And this is going to be a reference to the users table, okay? So I'm going to do that later. Once we have the table, we have the price. Now let's go ahead and create a record for one app. And let's say this is going to be a Pomodoro productivity app or something like that. So I'm just going to say Pomodoro app. We're going to have a thumbnail as well. I'm going to get that. So this app helps with productivity, helps you become more productive. All right. And the price we're going to have, let's say it's $10 to view and clone the app. Okay. We're going to say save. And once we do that, we have the collection. Now, the way I envision this is that we're going to have apps and then we're going to have a sub collection of reviews, ratings, that a specific user did. All right, so we're going to create a sub collection here. And this is going to be reviews. Okay, I'm going to say that. Next. And let's say we have a new record, right? These are going to be individual records. So the field is going to be rating. Okay, so rating is going to be 1 to 10 or 1 to 5. So let's say we want to do 1 to 10 number. And then we're going to have a review. This is, whether you like this app, whether, you've gotten value when you purchased it. We're going to say string, and this is going to be the type. So let's say we're going to fill out a sample review, and let's say I like the app. This app is great for building, a productivity app. Okay, something like this. So somebody liked the app, we have save, and now we have one document in the sub collection. Okay, so if we come in here, we have apps, we have one app, and it has one review. So at least now we have something. Okay, let's go ahead and find a thumbnail for it. So I'm just going to find a random thumbnail since we don't have an app yet. Although we might have an app in the future. I have some plans to build a similar app. And so right here, I found a thumbnail, a random thumbnail of some app. I'm just going to use this. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to say copy image address. And we're going to go back to Firebase, paste it in here. Okay, so we have some image there that we can show. And so right now we have one app, we have one review, and we have some information. So that's enough for us to go out and to at least build the customer-facing side of it all, right? Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to head over here to Firestore and add the schema. So we have the user schema. We can add additional fields if you want. But I'm going to go ahead and add this app schema. Okay, so it's apps. And we have various templates now. This is a new feature in FlutterFlow. We're going to start from scratch. and we are going to type our schema that we have here. So what do we have? Name, description, thumb, and price. Okay, so name, let's come in here. Name is going to be string. Description is going to be string. We need thumbnail. Thumb is going to be a photo path. And price, which is going to be an integer. Okay. And so now we have full 4 fields here. We also need to create a sub-collection, and that's going to be called reviews. It's a sub-collection of apps. We're going to hit create, start from scratch. And what do we have in our sub-collection? Reviews. Let's go ahead, review and rating. Okay, so we're going to come back here, review, and this is going to be a string and a rating, which is going to be an integer. Okay. And actually, now that I've been thinking, let's keep it simple. Let's make the rating out of 5 stars. You know, like a 5 star is good, 4 star, okay, etc., etc. So it's going to be 1 to 5. So we have review and rating here. And so it looks like we have our schema here. So we have the user schema here. And now we can start building out a couple of screens here, okay? So now that we are here on the UI side, and this is obviously my favorite part, we got the database out of the way, we got the schema out of the way. Let's go ahead and fix these project issues here. So we have 8 problems. That is because we're using a template. And so this is dark mode here. And if we click on this, we have a Boolean property, right? So Boolean property not properly set. And that's going to be a property right here. So this is where the property is. It's a global property right here. And now we set it to dark mode. You can set it to, you can also come in here and you can set it to light mode, dark mode, whatever. Next we have Boolean, another Boolean property. What do we have? This is what? Let's just disable this to keep it simple. This is search. And what do we have here? That's a parameter. So let's remove it. So if we click on the parameter, we can't delete it. That is a kind of a little bug in FlutterFlow. What you need to do is you need to pick something, and then you can come in here and then you can remove it. Okay, that is how you fix it. We need an auth setup. This is for Facebook. This is for actually the login page. So if we go to the login page, you can essentially delete all of this. We're not going to be using this. Okay, we're going to delete all this, and you're going to do the same thing on the sign up. Delete this, delete that, and that's going to fix majority of the errors. So we have one last error, navigation. Navigation is for this image. This is some banner or like a promo on the store template. We're going to remove it, okay? And so this is going to be changed to apps, something like this. We can even make it a little bit bigger, okay? Or applications. All right, now it says recommended for you. I mean, we can possibly do that later, recommendations, stuff like that. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it right now. And now let's go ahead and get our list working, okay? So if we click on this item, we can see where the list is. And now it's using a wrap, okay? It's not using a grid, it's using a wrap. And that's fine. What we need to do, guys, is we need to remove all the containers except one, okay? Because we're going to replicate the behavior. So I'm just going to remove all the containers except the first one. And now I'm going to come to this container. Actually, I'm going to go to this wrap and I'm going to feed it with a query type. We're going to say query collection, apps. Okay, list of documents, confirm. And now it looks like it has a backend now, right? All of that. This grayed out means it has a backend. And so what I want to do, guys, is I want to come to this image. I want to get this image from a thumbnail. This is going to be the app name. And this is going to be the price. So it's perfect. Like, I didn't even realize it, but it's actually perfect for what we were trying to do because we're building a marketplace. So it says no further changes. I need to pick number format, and then I need to pick custom. And then I want to say display as a currency. We have that. Looks good. Looks perfect. So it should display one app over there. And we can also change this later as well. This image right here, we can change it to the name of our marketplace. And so we have a warning. Now, errors are important, but I recommend you checking warnings as well. Warnings are they're going to make your life easier. So in this case, it's telling us Firestore rules not deployed. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit deploy. I'm going to say deploy now. Okay. And we also, let's check what it's telling us again. Okay, Firestore security rules may be too open. So if we come in here, it has a column called has private data. We're going to disable that, right? Because we don't have private data right now. So in this instance, there's nothing private. And so now we don't have any issues. Another thing you want to do is you want to validate your schema. Also a good idea. We're going to hit validate. All right. It came back and it says validation status is successful. And typically after you validate, it says not deployed. So you want to deploy it. And typically you want to do it the other way around, right? We're going to say deploy again. Okay, now everything is a green check mark. We can go back to the app and we have apps. I'm going to have the login as the first one. Okay, login and apps. All right, let's go ahead and test it out. We're going to create a test environment, run it in test mode, which is a recommended way of testing out the app when you are building it out so that you have this quick iteration. All right, so here's the app. It's asking us to log in. So I'm going to go ahead and create an account. I'm going to say sign up. I'm going to say, I'm going to enter my email. I'm going to say create an account. All right, and here we are. It recommended for you. We have one app. Okay, we have one app. That is why it's showing up in the center. If you had a couple, they would be aligned in the grid pattern. And so that looks good. It actually looked better than I thought it would just by putting in a random thumbnail image with the phone in there. Looks really good. Pomodoro app, $10, no descriptions, nothing. Now, the next logical thing we need to do is that when the user clicks the customer, it's going to go to the detail page where there's going to be more information. Okay, so there's going to be the name, the image, the price. We're also going to have some description. We're also going to have different things that the app does, different capabilities. Maybe it's using it's using chat. Maybe the app is using chat. Maybe it's using APIs. Some of the things that you can learn by viewing and cloning this app. Okay, lots of different things, kind of the features, you would say, of the app. And so that's the next thing we need to do. After that, we have the checkout page where the customer can go out and purchase the app. All right, so let's go back into our FlutterFlow here and let's create a new page. Gonna come in here and we need a content page. So let's take a look. Let's see if we can use a pre-built template that kind of fits into what we want. So I actually like this right here, this details home specs. I'm going to say app details, and we're going to say use my theme, and we're going to use this one, okay? And obviously, we need to kind of fix it up. We need to modify a lot of things, but this is a nice start. First thing we need to do is we need page parameters, okay? So we're going to say add parameters. This is going to be the app ref ID. And this is going to be document reference, collection type for apps. Okay, it's not a list. We're going to say confirm. Okay, now we can come in here. And what you want to do, guys, is you want to select container. I like to do it at the container level. Going to come in here, add an action, navigation, navigate to app details. Okay, pass, app ref, apps document reference. Okay, very simple. Here we have various navigations. Yeah, you want to do back navigation. We're not going to replace a route, and I'll talk more about that a little bit later. Transition type is going to be, you can do default, which is fine for now. All right, that's perfect. We have a couple of errors, and that probably has to do with that new page that we're using. So let's go ahead and let's fix it up. There's some chart. There's some stuff here that I think is missing widget configuration. Okay, so let's take a look what it means. If we scroll down, yeah, it's using a chart. Yeah, we don't need a chart. Yeah, it's using a lot of things. Okay, so it's using a ton of things. If you scroll down, there's also a map. We don't need a map. We do not. Yeah, this could be nice for actually purchasing the app. We can definitely use that. And now we don't have any errors. So just by deleting widgets that we do not need, we've solved a lot of these errors. All right, so let's go ahead to the top of the page, right here, where you see the little phone icon, and we want to load up that app, right? So I'm going to say document from reference. I'm going to go into apps, and I'm going to go app ref ID. Okay, that's kind of what we have, and now we have that information about the app. Okay, so now let's come in here, image set from variable. We're going to say thumb. For sale, that's nice. I don't know if we want to keep that. This is going to be the name of the app document name, and then city, state. Maybe we'll have something else. We need description, so this is perfect. I'm going to come here, description, and then we have specs. So this could be a nice little thing here to display different things about the app. And I don't think it's going to be displayed like this. It's probably going to be a list. Okay, so it's going to be a list. So let's come in here. This is a wrap. We're not going to do it. The way I'm seeing is this is just going to be a list, maybe with bullet points, just a list of different things that the app does. Okay, similar to like when you start like a new app in FlutterFlow, it displays things that are in that template. Okay, the stuff that you can use. I'm going to delete this. And I'm gonna delete this wrap. Okay, so I'm gonna delete this wrap, and what I'm gonna do is instead of this wrap, I'm gonna come here. We're right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come to here, and I'm gonna add just a list. I'm just gonna keep it simple. Okay, I'm just gonna do a list. So this is the column in question. This is the first element container. So I'm going to go to this column, and I'm going to say add a list view. Okay, now we have a list view. And the idea here is going to be different features, right? So we're going to store different features for a specific app, right? So that the user can look at it and say, oh, it has this, it has this chat, it has this, it has that. This is where we're going to display the features. So it says specifications. I'm going to say features. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to say features. Okay. We have name, description, city, state. We don't need city, state. Now we also need the name of the developer, and we also need reviews, right? We want to make sure. So what I want to have here is we're going to have name, description, and I want this right here. I want to see the author. Okay, so let's come before features right here. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to say duplicate, and now we have this, and I'm going to say author, developer, okay? And just below that, I want to see like the name of the developer. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate. This is going to be the actual developer here. And what we can do, guys, is we can wrap it inside a row, wrap widget in a row. Okay, and so we have a developer, and I can add reviews. Okay, so this could be something like we're gonna have parentheses. So maybe let me show you how it's done. I'm gonna add another text widget. I'm gonna come to this row. I want it to be centered. Perfect. And this one right here, I want it to be okay. Perfect. So I'm gonna go to hello world right here, and I'm gonna say this is kind of how it looks. 100 reviews. And 4.82 rating, something like this out of 5. Okay, so we have the number of reviews, and we have the average of the reviews. You can show them. All right, so this is going to be developer. This is developer. I'm going to make it just maybe a little bit bigger here as the header. Features I'm going to make a little bit bigger. All right, we have that, and you want to kind of space it out, right? So maybe we'll do a bottom padding. Typically, you want all of this to be in the container, and we're going to do that later, okay? So I'm going to put a little bit of padding here. We have a description. We have a developer. Do we want to center it, or do we want it to be left justified? Maybe something. Yeah, this doesn't look bad. That looks pretty good, actually. So we have that. We're going to have all of that. And now let's go ahead and fix this bottom part. So there's some round corners here. I'm not sure if I like that kind of look. Let's remove it. Okay, that looks better. And I don't know if I like black. Do we really want it to be this color? Fill color, let's make it maybe light gray. Okay, that looks probably better. Let's change this text color here. Make it black. Okay, something like this. Maybe even a little bit lighter color. Okay, something like this. So it just stands out. Okay, inquire now, we're gonna say buy or purchase. We're gonna say purchase, and this is the price. So I'm gonna come in here. This is gonna be the price. And no, we don't need estimate. Estimate, we can have something else. Yeah, I don't think we need this. We don't need that. So just the price, and we have row, column. Okay, so we have a row inside a row. All right, so we have purchase. Let's make purchase just a tad bigger. Okay, that looks better in my opinion. We probably don't need this, but maybe we'll have something else there. This is the back button. Let's make sure it works. Navigate back. Looks good. Let's go ahead and make sure this is filled in, developer and that. Now, developer is going to grab the user ID from the user, and now we should have one user. So if I come back right here and I go into my apps and I refresh it, I have the user's account. Remember, this was created automatically by FlutterFlow when we actually created the user. It created the schema, and it also created this collection inside our Firestore. Now, an interesting thing about this collection is that if you go in here and you go to our DB and you go to users, you have a lot of these things. You have display name, photo URL, UID, created time. But if you go into our Firestore, you only see like 3 fields. What this means is that you can create these fields and you can use them inside FlutterFlow. As long as it's inside, as long as it's part of the schema here, you can use it inside your Firestore DB, and that way you can use the actual data inside your FlutterFlow app. So that's important to remember. And this is going to be important if you want to display things like photo URL and display name. Okay, so display name, we don't have it, so I'm going to do a display name in case, I want to display it somewhere. So I'm just going to say display name, James, and photo URL. We're going to go into generated.photos. And we're just going to grab a random photo for this account. So this is kind of what I have. You can go into browse photos and let's grab a man. Okay, so how about this guy right here? We're just going to grab this guy right here, go back to our DB. And what is the name of that field? It is photo underscore URL. All right, so we're going to come here, photo underscore URL, paste this in there. And now we have an image. And this is good practice if you want to display the image, the user on the dashboard, their account page, stuff like that, right? Remember, we're building an actual app that we are going to market to real users, okay? So now we have this set up here. Let's go ahead to our apps collection and let's add that field. We're going to say dev ID. This is the developer ID. And we're going to grab this one user that we have. So I'm going to go into users first. And what I want to do is I want to click on that pencil, copy this path, go to apps, and I want to add the field. So I'm just going to say dev ID, and I'm going to say reference. I'm going to paste it right here. And now we know who the dev is. That is the person who created the app. Very, very important. We have the sub collection, the review sub collection. We have the dev ID. Now we can go back to the app. And we can add that field here. So remember, we just added this field. We want to add it here. This is the document reference to users. Okay, perfect. Dev ID. And now we can go back to the app and we can actually pull up that information and display it here. So where do we want to pull it up? Well, we're already pulling up the app stuff. And for the developer, we can actually do it on this level or on this level. Okay, so we can do it maybe on this level. We can do it on the text since we're not going to use it anywhere else. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to this developer here. I'm going to come here and I'm going to say document from reference. Collection is users. And now we need the reference, right? So authenticated user, we're going to say document from reference. We are going to pick a user. We're going to come here, apps document, and this dev ID that we have, this dev ID, I'm going to say confirm. And now inside this developer, we can actually use the stuff, okay? So we can simply set it from a variable, and we're gonna say users documents, and we're gonna do display name. And now here, we need to do more stuff. We need to get two things. We need to get the list, the number of reviews, the counter of reviews, as well as the average. Now, in order to get this information, you need to create a custom function, okay? Because FlutterFlow does not support getting a count of the number of documents in the collection or a sub-collection, as well as the average. You need to create a custom function. Fortunately, it is very, very easy to do. So we're going to go into set from variable, and we're going to come in here and we're going to do a custom function. Okay, so create a new function. When you're thinking about creating a new function, think about the data you're going to be sending, right? So if I do create a new function, I'm going to say, let's say we're creating a count. We're going to say count of records. Okay, this thing is simply going to return the number of records, the number of reviews. And this is actually very, very easy. We have a return type. It's going to be an integer. It's not a list, and it's nullable. But the argument is going to be different. So the argument is going to be a collection. We're going to pass a collection. And the data type is going to be a document. And the document type is going to be a reviews. And this is a list. We're basically passing in a list of documents, okay? So now if we go into code here, we can simply do an AI-generated code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say return count of documents. Let's see if that works. And there we have it. Very simple. If collection is null, return 0, meaning we pass like an empty collection, a null collection that doesn't exist. Otherwise, return the length. That's it. Copy function, yes. Now if we're going to go to function definition, we have everything set up. We have the code, which is our new function. Next, you want to hit save. The next thing you want to do is you want to get this collection. You want to make this collection available. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it available on this field right here, okay? So we're going to come in here. We're going to say query collection. We're going to get the reviews here, and we're going to say the value source is going to be from a variable, and the variable is going to be our app, right? So we're querying the thing. We're going to get a list of documents. We're going to say confirm, and now we're getting the reviews for this specific app. And now we can come in here, we can do set from variable. We are going to come in here, custom function, count of records, and we're going to pass that newly queried reviews document. We're going to say list of reviews, no further changes, confirm, confirm. And that's going to give us a count of records. That's going to give us a count of records. But we don't want count of records. We want the count, but we also want the average. And so next we need to create a custom function that's going to return an average of a list, because we're not going to be passing an entire collection. We're just going to be passing a list of various items, as you shall see. We're going to come here and we're going to say get average from list. Okay? And this list is going to be a list of doubles, essentially. Okay? So the return type is going to be a double, is list false, nullable false. And we need an argument, okay? So the argument is going to be a list, right? So list, item list, item list. The data type is going to be a double, and it's a list true. Nullable is true. We can do that. We're going to come in here, and now we can do AI-generated code and say get average from of a list. Execute that, and there you have it. And there you have the whole function generated for you, right? You don't even have to write any code. We're passing in a list, and it's basically doing a couple of checks. If it's an empty list, just return 0 so that there's no errors. Otherwise, average it out, right? So that's kind of what we have. We do copy function, and we go back to our function definition. We look at code right here. This is kind of what we're seeing, okay? And now we can also test it out. We can come to this test tab and create our list. So we're going to have a list. Let's say we have review. So let's say we have a review of 5. Let's say we have a review of 3. Let's say we have a review of 1. We're going to run that. And 5 plus 3 plus 1 is 9, divided by 3 is 3. And then we have 3 here, right? That is the answer, okay? And so let's say we change it around. Let's say we have 10, 10, and 5. What is that? 25 divided by 3, that's 8 point something. We're going to run that. And we have 8.33333. Obviously, we're going to format it and all that. But that is the answer here. We're going to hit save, and we know this function works. Now, once we're done with our functions here, we want to check for errors, and we don't have any errors. This is all happy. All right, so let's go ahead and test out the app. Let's make sure everything works here. The list is displayed, the detail is displayed, everything else, and then we'll come back and we'll take a look what else we have to do. So our test mode has expired. Let's go ahead and create a new test mode here. All right, so here's our app. We have the list view here. This is the main screen. I'm already logged in. And so if I click on this, I'm here. And what I'm seeing is I'm seeing the name, I'm seeing the image, I'm seeing the description, I'm seeing the developer, James, and I'm seeing the count of the reviews here, okay? We still need to get the average, and that is what we're gonna do. We need the features, we need all of that stuff, and we also need to have the purchase. This is the $10. We need a dollar sign. We also need to create a purchase screen, as well as a lot of other things. And so in the next video, we're going to be working on those things that I mentioned just now, as well as building out the developer portal as well as adding more functionality to the customer portal. And so if you enjoyed this video, want me to continue building out this app to its completion with all the bells and whistles, with all the features, with all the options, with all the little things we've talked about, give this video a fat like, leave a comment below. If I see a lot of support, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna create another video very, very soon, because I can't wait to see this app live, and I can't wait for you guys to use it, as well as for me to use it, and a lot of other people to use it. So definitely show some support, give this video a fat like, leave a comment below, and I'm gonna create another video in this series. We're gonna continue the series very, very shortly. Also, if you are interested in viewing and or cloning the app that we have right now, as well as viewing and or cloning the app that we're going to be continuing to build as the app evolves, you will be able to do so on my Patreon page. On my Patreon page, you'll be able to find a lot of resources, including all the FlutterFlow apps that we've built so far in this channel, Bravo Studio apps. You'll be able to get extra content such as Q&As, as well as live streams. Plus, I'm thinking about starting a new series that's only going to be available on Patreon, where I'm going to discuss some of the other thinking that goes behind me building these apps, kind of like a behind the scenes look. So if you're interested, and it's a very, very good investment, if you're serious about NoCode, check out that Patreon page in the description below this video. And so this should do it for the part 1 in this series. Stay tuned for part 2, where we are going to continue to build out this app with all the bells and whistles. Thanks a lot for watching. Talk to you real soon.